Hello everyone, in this lesson we will be discussing your capstone project. The course outcomes that your project will address include apply principal theories and concepts to address complex or interdisciplinary issues in various settings, interpret contemporary global perspectives in the field, evaluate information using quantitative and qualitative reasoning skills, and use discipline-specific terminology, definitions, and conventions to demonstrate effective verbal and written communication across a range of audiences. The first piece of designing and implementing your project is choosing your research question, and it can be helpful to consider the FINER criteria. This acronym stands for feasible, interesting, novel, ethical, and relevant. Feasible being, is it possible to conduct this project? Interesting, will it be interesting for you? Is this topic something that will hold your attention for 7 weeks, as well as that of others who are the audience for your final deliverables? Is this novel? So are you contributing something new and different to the field that isn't already known? Is it ethical, making sure that your practices are keeping in mind the welfare of any animals or humans involved? And is it relevant? Why does this project matter? There are different project types that you might choose: experimental research, observational research, and survey research. Also, you might conduct a case study or structured literature review, or write a care manual, a business plan, or a strategic plan. And you might also complete a research proposal or participate in an internship. The choice is really up to you on what you want to do, how you want to spend your time as you are working on your project, and which project really fits with the research question that you have decided on. As your deliverables for your project, you will write a written document and also create a recorded presentation. For your data collection methods, you might choose one of these options or potentially a combination. You might conduct observations of people or animals. You might design and disseminate a questionnaire. And you might decide to conduct interviews or focus group, either in a structured or more open manner. For your written document, again, you want to be mindful of the alignment with your research question and also the format of your project itself, such as if you're doing an internship. There might be different written document formats that fit with your decided research question, such as writing a scholarly article, creating a manual, writing a business plan, or perhaps completing a proposal. For all of these different options, you will want to make sure that you're incorporating APA formatting, so really looking at any pertinent aspects of that, such as citations and overall document organization. Your written document will be approximately 2,500 words, and you also might want to incorporate visuals into your written document. For your recorded presentation, this is also a choice that you have as far as what you want this to look like. You might create a research presentation, a recorded business proposal, an informational presentation, or even a documentary style film. There are many different options that you have, and whichever you choose, your recorded presentation will be approximately 10 to 12 minutes in length. You will really be focusing on these visual components in this part because this is one of the factors that makes a recorded presentation unique and distinguishes it from the written document. This is the visuals are really an explanatory support for the work that you're doing. You really want to be mindful of integrating text with the visuals, using original visuals that are supportive, perhaps videos that you create, still photos, animations, and really being more sparing with the actual text that you're displaying on your recorded presentation. You'll also have narration, so that narration can really be where you are expanding on the text that you have and providing more of a roadmap for your audience as you build out those explanations and really describe what your visuals are showing and why they're relevant, why you have included them in your recorded presentation of your project. As you complete your project, there's a weekly rhythm that you will follow to help keep you on track. You will be consistently reflecting on the work that you have already accomplished, how the week has gone, and also looking forward to any goals that you have for the following week. You'll also participate in discussion boards where you're reflecting on this section that you'll be working on each week for your project, and also completing scaffolds such as your project proposal, presentation, drafts, and drafts of the written document throughout. Of course, each week you will be working on your project, so you might be putting hours in for your internship, doing research, finding articles to include in your literature review, writing up your deliverables, making videos to include in your recorded presentation, any number of different ways that you're actually doing the work on your project and your project deliverables. As mentioned, there are multiple scaffolds throughout, so each week you will be submitting a component for your project. The project proposal is week 1, which is the overview of what your plan is, and then you will have written drafts in weeks 2 and 3, your presentation draft in week 4, and then more written drafts in weeks 5 and 6. Each week that you're submitting a written draft, that will include edits to the previous draft that you submitted, as well as a new section of writing that you have included. For your project, there are 5 different sections, including the abstract, the introduction, the methods, the results, and the discussion. For all of these sections, you will be working on demonstrating your skills and knowledge regarding Course Outcome 4, which is centered on communication. You can imagine the analogy of your project deliverable being like a plate of fruit. Each section is a different fruit. They are on topic and relevant, but they are distinct sections with specific goals. And everyone's plate of fruit will look slightly different because no 2 apples are the same. Where everyone has an apple, say a discussion section, some will have a green apple, others a Honeycrisp, and some may even have a Red Delicious. In the abstract, this is where you're really focusing on summarizing your project. So this is the first part of your project that your audience will see, but it is actually the final piece that you will create way down in week 7. So after you've completed your project, done all of the different sections, then you will summarize those down to 1 or 2 sentences per section and present that information in your abstract. One of the main goals of the abstract is to really engage your audience, help them gain interest in what your project is all about, and keep them moving forward and engaged for the rest of the project that follows after the abstract section. For your introduction, this is where you provide an overview of what is known about your research question, your focus topic, what is unknown, how your project specifically addresses what the unknown is and the relevance, and why knowing the unknown matters. And then finally, the structure of your project and how all of that comes together to support why your project matters and what you will be doing. The tasks shown here indicate how you will demonstrate the relevant course outcomes. By formulating a research question that addresses a gap in understanding substantiated by credible research across disciplines to explore using a theoretical framework and integrating relevant global perspectives to substantiate the global relevance of the focus topic and research question, you will demonstrate your achievement of these aspects of course outcomes 1, 2, and 3. Additionally, through your communication, you are addressing course outcome 4 in the introduction section, as well as all of the other sections. Due in week 2, so again, we did a little hop where you did your introduction after your methods. Even though your introduction comes first in the deliverable, your methods section is where you outline your protocol for how you will conduct your project. This part is why this piece comes early on, and it's due in week 2 so that you can really get started on actually implementing your protocol by week 3. So you want to be paying attention and making sure that this is detailed and thorough enough so that another researcher could apply this protocol and replicate your findings. You also want to provide a rationale for your design and why this is what you are proposing. Doing this will demonstrate an aspect of course outcome 3. Your results section is due in week 5. So after you have completed your introduction and methods sections, and then remember in week 4, you submitted your draft of your recorded presentation. So now in week 5, this is where you're analyzing your data, and you are really translating the data into visual representations to help your audience understand what you found. This is also related to course outcome number 3. Again, you want to be mindful of alignment with the research question, and while tempting, you want to minimize your interpretation. Do not include interpretations of the data in this section. Instead, hold on to those ideas and that thinking, and that will come next in your discussion section. For your results section, you will justify how the data addressed the research question through the creation of a cohesive set of appropriately collected and analyzed data. In week 6, you will submit your discussion section. And again, the discussion section is where you get to interpret your findings. So this is where you really are looking at what you found in your project and you're providing some context. How does what you found align with or contradict with external research that has been conducted before? You also will discuss limitations to your study and recommendations for moving forward. Finally, your conclusion is the overall take-home statement of the big takeaway from your projects. So what you really hope to communicate through your project and the work, what you have done on this is the case just with your introduction section, this part of your project is really a larger, more contextualized discussion of your topic. And similar again to the introduction section, this part of your project is looking at all of the outcomes. And this is the final section of your capstone project. I hope that you enjoy working on your capstone project, and please don't hesitate to communicate any questions that you have with your instructor.